Well, hello there, beautiful. My name's June Morrow. This is the List Building Diaries, and it is Tuesday, June 21st. It's the longest day of the year in terms of sunlight. And so normally I'd be like, it's the longest day of the year. It's the first day of summer, I think, or the last day of spring. I can't remember which. But what are you going to do with all that extra hours of sunlight today? But I'm not going to do that because today's theme is doing less. So stick around. If this is your first video, my name's June Morrow, and I am a mentor. I help spiritual coaches, transformational consultants, mission-driven entrepreneurs find their authentic voice in their marketing. And what I do each week as part of my accountability to be authentic to my own journey is I share what I'm doing that week to build my own business. Well, so this week, I don't really have much to report in terms of list building. And I'll be honest, a lot of what's been going on with me has been kind of like seeds under the ground, right? I've been doing a lot of inner work. I've been doing a lot of behind the scenes work. I haven't been doing a lot of growing my community lately, but I have been doing a lot of shifting my mindset. And a couple weeks ago, I decided that I'm going to give myself 2 months until the end of July to build this program, the Authentic Messaging Academy, that I am launching in September. It's a 6-month program and it's filled with everything that you need if you are someone who is compassionate, someone who really cares about the transformation that you can bring to your audiences to help you know what to say, where to say it, how to say it in all of your different content, social media, emails. How do you attract people? What's your strategy? What's your kind of pathway that you take people through? What's your marketing plan? And how to do all this in a way that feels aligned and true to who you are and what you are here to do. So that's a tall order, and that's what I've been working on behind the scenes. So really, I'm spending about, maybe 4 hours every day working on this program and getting my content out there. At the same time, I've been undergoing this real kind of big, well, I've been in a dark night of the soul, and I feel like I'm coming out of it now, but I've been really struggling with inner critic stuff. I've been really struggling with exhaustion, with physical stuff. Like a lot of stuff has come up for healing. I'm in therapy. I'm working through that stuff, a lot of inner trauma, stuff that was triggered with the breakup, with moving, with leaving 26 years in one city and moving to this island where I don't, where I didn't know anyone. And now I know 18 people. Whoop, whoop. Yeah, moving on up. So anyway, that's been going on, working a lot of internal work and a lot of spiritual work and a lot of connecting. Um, and I'm also going through menopause. And if you've been going through menopause, you know the fun little roller coaster ride that can be with your hormones and your energy and your emotions and all of that. So lots of stuff going on behind the scenes. And I was speaking with a friend of mine today, and actually almost everybody I speak to recently has experienced this, like literally needing to spend 1 day a week just curled up in the fetal position, right? Or just being like side smacked by negative thinking or just really feeling down and having some really, really rough days. And we're coming kind of out of the COVID, but I think it's really kind of just catching up with us. And just being in this a different place in the world, and a lot of people are having struggles with their emotions and with their mental health and with their thinking and with their energy. And so if this is you, I just want you to know you're not alone. People might look at some of the stuff I post on Facebook and be like, wow, look at June, she's killing it. But honestly, I spend like 1 day a week, like a weekday, where I can't do anything. Like I literally just have to eat potato chips and watch Netflix all day just to get through the day. And yeah, and that's where I'm at right now. And you know what? That's okay. Because sometimes that's what self-care looks like. Sometimes self-care looks like just crying for half the day, and that's what you have to do. So yeah, also it's summer, the summertime, and we were talking about this in one of the networking calls in Happy Healthy Women, one of the networks I'm involved with this week, about like what are your plans for the summer? Do you slow down in the summer? Do you do less? And a lot of people are like, yeah, I just want to do less this summer. And me, I've been like, I gotta finish this program because I want to launch it, I want to market it, I want to get it out there, I want to kind of work on the next phase. Now, That said, the way that I'm building this program is not really the way a lot of people recommend you build a program. So, in theory, the best way to build a program, or one way to build a program, is to one, outline it, figure out what people are going to get. Two, market it. Three, get some people in the program. And then four, build it once you have some people signed up, right? So you could be like building one module per week. And for me, I feel like, no, I need to actually get this program done first before I go full hog and start marketing it. And the reason for that is when I create content, for me, it is a way of me really knowing and seeing the value of the content as I create it. This is my way of knowing, is writing. So as I create this content, I see the value and I see what people are going to get out of it. And that helps me create content that can help people. And it also helps me create, it's going to help me create the marketing around this because I'll know exactly what's in the program, what exactly people get, because I've created it, not just outlined it, but I've created it. So for me, it's a different process. And my soul loves to focus on one thing at a time. My soul loves to take a big project, just do that project, right? Then once that project is done, let's do another project. And I know this isn't great when you're in business and you have to wear a million different hats, right? Until that point where you can hire people to wear those hats for you. But for me, this is a gift I'm giving myself, time and space just to create this program. So that's what I'm focusing on. And I think it's okay, right? We all have a different way of doing things. And my intuition is telling me, yeah, you're doing the right thing. So just keep doing this, get the program done, get it out there, and then we're going to worry about the next step. So, but in saying this, in doing this program recently, I have been pushing myself, right? Last week, it's just felt enormous. It felt like, oh my gosh, there's so much to do. There's so much to talk about. There's so much to write. There's so many modules and so many lessons. So I went to my own coach. So I'm in Tara Wagner's, right now I'm in Tara Wagner's Breakthrough Boss Inner Circle. So I went to our group coaching call and I asked Tara on Thursday, I'm feeling like it's too much, right? Like, what can I do to simplify this? Should I simplify it? Have I included too much? Is there too much in this? And she told me basically what I would tell anyone else, which I thought was great advice. She basically said, kill your babies. Now, if you're an editor, you know this phrase. If you haven't worked in editing or you've never worked with someone who's told you that before, they might say, like, kill your babies. What? What does that mean? And what it means is, like, in everything we create, there are things that we are attached to that we think are amazing. That we think, oh, everyone needs to hear this. This is so poetic. This is such a great part of it. Um, and that's often the thing that people really don't need, right? So those things we get attached to are sometimes like our babies or kill your darlings. And to really streamline and make things valuable for people, you need to declutter. You need to kind of get rid of some of those. So what we decided would be best for me to do is go back to my program and look at it from the perspective, one, of my ideal client. What do they actually need? Because I've created this program originally with everything that people came to me for help for over the past year and a half that I've been doing these one-on-one VIP days where we get your content done and we come up with plans and strategies in one day, right? So I've taken this and all of these things that I've done on these different days and put them into a master program that will give people more spaciousness. It'll give people more time to implement, right? Each of the different things and really let each of the different principles sink in. So I had to go back and be like, what does my ideal client actually need? Does she need X, Y, and Z, or is, A, B, C, D, E, F enough? And looking at it from this perspective, from the perspective of what she needs, not what I want to tell her, because I could just blab forever about everything I know because I'm excited about it, right? So same with you. Not what do you want to tell your audience, but what do they need to make the transformation that you help them make? So what does my audience need to feel like she's being authentic in her marketing, to feel like she knows what she's doing, to feel like she has a plan for creating posts and knows how to do them and knows how to create emails and knows how to introduce herself? What does she actually need? So I went back and I did that and I cut out a whole bunch of stuff. And that other stuff, when I have time, I will create that as bonus content. But that doesn't necessarily have to be in the first iteration. So that was really helpful. That helped me feel like, okay, now creating the program is looking a lot more manageable. And this is really interesting because it brings me to the thing that I was working on yesterday and today in the program while I'm creating it, which is so I've been working on a module on teaching people how to do something called roadmap content. And what roadmap content is it's content that shows people how to get from A to B. So A is the problem, the thing they're suffering from, right? So in this case, it might be like, I don't know how to create content. I don't know what I'm doing when it comes to emails. I don't know why nobody's like responding. I don't know why I'm not getting any traction. To B, which is I feel confident. I know that my marketing is working. This is feeling good. It's not draining my energy, right? So how do you get from A to B? Well, there's a number of steps that you go through. And your program, your audience, your specific thing that you do, you're going to have a number of steps too that people go through. So this is called roadmap content. And what we get tripped up on, and especially those of us who tend to give too much, is we give too much content. We give people too much information. This is known as fire hosing, right? So imagine you have a fire hose and you're just spraying. Like people are like, I'm thirsty. And you're like, here's a fire hose. They can't get anything in their mouth. They're like, whoa, this is like just too much stuff. Meanwhile, you're like trying to keep control and you're all over the place because you're feeding too much stuff. You're doing too much stuff, right? So how do you keep yourself from fire hosing your audience when you have a lot to say? And it comes down to breaking your content up and breaking it apart into steps, breaking it apart into smaller steps, breaking it apart into either even smaller steps. So you can show them the what, like what do you need to do, as in you need step 1, 2, or 3, and just keep it there at that level. Or you can show them the how in that you come up with like the quickest, shortest possible step you can take right now and how to do that, right? So here's a how. A how is to break your content into no more than 7 things. So if you have a program, keep it to no more than 7, big modules that solve 7 of the main problems. Don't go beyond that because it's too much. You can, within each module, you can have lessons, right, that all address what's in that module. And within each lesson, you can have different tasks and different topics that address that lesson. But each of those, you want to keep it to no more than 7 because otherwise it's too much to remember. 7492742. That's my childhood phone number. Now I think it's 613-749-2742. I don't know who's at that number. Don't call it. But I remember that because it's 7. The human brain can remember up to 7 things. Typically less, right? Think about all the things in your brain today, right? Like typically less. So we don't want to give our audience more than 7 points, 7 items, 7 steps, 7 ways, 7 whatever it is. We don't want to give them more than that. And if we give them less, like 5 or 3 or even like 1, amazing. That is something that people can digest. More than 7, and you're in danger of fire hosing them. So if you are somebody who tends to give too much with your content, like maybe you do lives and you feel like it's too much information. And I know I was speaking with another friend of mine, a coach, and she said she had this problem. And I certainly had this problem myself when I used to do lives in my Facebook group, when I had a Facebook group that was active. Um, and I would do these lives and I'd put so much work into them and I'd give so much information and like 3 people would watch them. And then I just feel so discouraged. And it's because I was giving too much, right? So if you keep things under 7, what are the 7 main points? Or challenge yourself even 5. Like what are the top 5 things people need to know? Or the 3 things? 3 things? Give yourself a 5, a 3, maximum 7 number. And then just only give those many points. That's why I do with my interviews. I do, 5 things because I know anything more than 5 is going to be like, oh, this video is too long, right? 5 things, they can scan through the video and get the different things. It's easy. So yeah, the rule of 7. So I put myself under my own rule of 7 to keep my content easier. And the reason that I'm doing this, the reason that I want to do less is because I want to be more, right? Do less, be more. Another area that has been really floating around and coming to my attention this past week is the divine feminine and being in your feminine, your divine feminine, your feminine energy. So I had a great conversation last week with Lucy Al. That's her. Yeah, that's what she goes by. Lucy Al, who is a spiritual coach, and we talked about how to know you're in a dysfunctional relationship with your business. And some of that was about being in the feminine and masculine energy, which is really, really interesting. I spoke with another person who I'm going to be doing an interview with later this year about, the work that she does around spirituality, around masculine and feminine. That was really interesting. So all of this has just been coming to my attention. And it's really about being, because when you're burnt out, when you're tired, when you're pushing too hard, when there's too much change going on, when change has been going on, and basically up until now, I've been in nonstop change since December, right? I moved from a city where I'd lived for 26 years. Then I sold all my stuff. I broke up with this guy I was dating. I realized that my relationship problems were at least half my doing, that I had some really patterns around men that weren't doing me any favors. I got into healing, other like trauma from childhood came up through all of this. Like there's a lot that's been going. And then I moved across country. I learned how to drive again. Like, whoo! Oh, so much going on since the beginning of this year. So if I'm tired, damn it, I'm allowed to be tired. I've been through a lot, right? I need some time to just be. And that's what being in your feminine is about. It's about just being. Just be, right? And that is really hard for some of us who are driven to accomplish, to achieve, who want people to notice us, who want attention, all these things to do. So, yeah, working on just being. So this week, I'm proud to say I took the whole weekend off. Well, I took a little bit to work on my program, the Breakthrough That Inner Circle. But other than that, most of the weekend I spent at the Island Tides Wellness Festival, Yoga and Wellness Festival. I did some yoga. I did a silent dance, silent disco, where you all wear headphones and dance to the same beat, even though, you're in the same room, which is kind of cool. And I did an ecstatic dance, and that was really good. And I did some drumming, and I walked a labyrinth. And man, just being in the spiritual, being in the moment, being in my body for the weekend really, really re-energized me. And it's exactly what I need. And through this kind of like stepping away from my business, other ideas are coming to me. And like, I've got an idea here that's percolating about starting a sacred song circle here on the island, or sacred soul sister singing circle. I'm not sure what I'm going to call it, but getting a group of women together to sing mantras in English and sing lullabies and sing prayers and blessings to each other into this world. And man, I'm excited about that. So I want to create space so that I can bring some of this new stuff in, right? So I can meet new people, so I can create new energy and bring some new energy through me into the world. So that's what I learned this week. That's a lot. And I thought, I'll say less this time. And it's still a lot. I still said a lot. But these are some things for you to think about, right? If you're doing too much, what is it that your audience actually needs? How can you make it easy for them to have their taste, their thirst quenched, but not drowned, right? How can you keep your points to under 7 so that you have more space? You don't have to create as much, and you have more space to simply be, to be in your feminine, to be in the receptive mode, to be in your body, to be in the moment, to be alive, to be awake to the summer that is starting, to be there, right, in the sun, um, and doing whatever it is that you need to do, and to be inspired by all of that and let yourself be inspired. So that's my list building diary for that week. A little bit of mindset behind the scenes work, a little bit of work around actually creating your content, right? And that includes your programs. If you're doing workshops, if you're doing social media posts, what your lead magnet is, all of that stuff. If you want to learn more about the Authentic Messaging Academy, even though I'm still working on it, you can learn more at the link below. I'd also love for you, if you are someone who finds social media burns you the F out, because it's not for all of us, I have a free masterclass on how to find clients when social media isn't doing it for you. And you can download that below as well. And if this spoke to you in any way, if you learned something from this, I would love for you to share with me what you learned, any reframes that you got from this video, anything that you're taking from it in the comments below. I really appreciate you watching me. And if you have ideas for things that you would like me to create content on that can help you with your marketing, a question, something you're struggling with, be sure to reach out to me, June at junemorrow.com. All right. Enjoy your summer. I'll be back next week. I love you. Mwah. And we'll see you soon. You got this.